So special blessing to New Renaissance. I want to allow Claire to tell us a little bit about New Ren and what's on sale, just to support the store.
Yeah, thanks, Jane.
Yeah.
I just want to share I'm grateful to be in this class and I'm grateful to get to work with you, Jane. Jane's a very special part of the bookshop and she's a beloved reader. She's does intuitive remote viewing readings, shamanic healing, and sidereal astrology. And I've had lots of readings with her. She's amazing. And she will be for Portland people, or I guess you can do phone readings as well. She will be at the shop tomorrow doing a special promotion. So she's doing half-hour sessions for $66.
Awesome.
It's a Jane squared, so a hand analysis reader, also named Jane, will be there. And then she'll be at the shop all weekend doing her regular readings. So that's always great. And crystals and crystal singing bowls are on sale this month. So good time to get crystals.
Love those crystals. Oh yeah.
Mm.
And we love the brand, so thanks, Claire. So hopefully this will record and welcome to Astrology 101, and this is 2026. I am so thrilled to be here, thanks to New Renaissance Bookshop, and I'm Jane DeForest. So we're going to go ahead and start with my presentation. I've been working hard on designing an attractive presentation so that you can see it, but this is more than just a slideshow. The esoteric arts, the occulted arts, occult meaning hidden. Occult doesn't mean anything negative, it just means hidden, like the moon is occulted during a lunar eclipse. Astrology is an occulted art. It's taught to initiates in the ancient times, and you had to be of a certain age, and you had to be of a certain spiritual training. So astrology is an ancient and distinguished art and science, and I'm excited to share it with you. So this oral tradition comes through a teacher. Now, much of this knowledge we get from books or YouTube, which is fine, but this is a classic way to receive the information. So one of the ways that I wanted to teach, since I'm an artist and I'm dyslexic, is I wanted to encourage you to doodle. Go ahead and take notes if you want, even though this is recorded. But I like doodling and emphasizing the shape of what I'm teaching. If it's the moon, and you can put faces to it. In ancient times, most cultures saw the planets and the whole living world, for that matter, as being sentient or being alive, having consciousness. Mother Earth wasn't a dead rock, it was Lady Gaia, or it had a consciousness that could be communicated with. It same as the planet Mars, personified in ancient culture as a warrior, or the planet Venus, personified as a beautiful woman, a young woman. These are archetypes, or these are symbols of the energy of the planets. The ancients understood that these planets had powers over uh, um, all living things in the solar system and us on Earth. This is a very strange concept, and really, I'll be sharing more about the history, but a really strange concept if you think that a dead rock, how many thousands of miles away, can affect me. Well, if we think about the sun, um, which is a star, affects us greatly, of course. We have day and we have night, and the sun causes, if it weren't for the sun, we wouldn't be here. And the sun is what enables us to exist on this planet. The moon controls all the water on the planet and the reproduction of all reproductive cycles of all living things. Why would Jupiter not have an effect on us? So these are just some ideas. I'm not a astrological fundamentalist. I'm here to share these ideas and have you receive whatever fits in your world, and please feel free to let go of whatever doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead with my presentation and my slideshow that I've prepared for you. And then I'm going to stop at different times and ask if anybody has any questions. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Does anybody have any questions before we start? Okay. Very exciting to be here. Now I will play my slideshow. Okay. Does everybody see one screen? It says Intro to Astrology Basics. I think if you didn't, you'd tell me. So, yeah, all right. So we start in the vastness of space. It's daunting to think about the idea that we really are in a vast, boundless, endless space filled with millions and billions of galaxies. This is a star nursery where stars are born. And we are moving through space. This is a lovely video of the sun moving and the Earth, Mars, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter revolving around the sun. So we don't think about this often, but we are moving around the central sun of the Milky Way galaxy. We are not stagnant. A friend of mine took this picture. That is Mount Shasta, the great Mount Shasta, which is a portal, I can say with confidence. This is not a doctored photograph. It's a real photograph of what you can see up on Mount Shasta. It's just vast. This is what we call the Milky Way galaxy from Earth. And that's a picture I created with my friend Grok, the AI, of our Milky Way galaxy, which is a spiral galaxy. And we are on an outside arm of this Milky Way galaxy. We're not even in the suburbs. We're not even down in the middle in the urban center. We are in the boonies of this Milky Way galaxy. And I made this video with Greg. I'm just going to play it again because it took me a long time to make it. Oops. All right. And I worked on this for a while. We'll be seeing this throughout our journey together. We have, of course, the giant sun, which is a burning star, will die someday. And in the bottom, we're going to start learning the glyphs. So astrology is said to be a language. So we're going to learn the words, which are symbols, and we will learn to put them in sentences that make sense and that you can then apply to your lives. So in the bottom of the screen here, we see, oh, my little indicator won't indicate, but you can see the circle with the dot in it. That's the sun. And for those of you who are doodling, go ahead and draw that symbol. You'll see that symbol over and over again. Many of these symbols are alchemical symbols. Mercury is our closest planet to the sun, and that's the symbol for Mercury, and you can doodle that. It's a circle. It looks like a woman's symbol, and it has horns on it, a little half moon on it on the top. That's Mercury. Venus is this like the symbol of a female, and Venus is well, I won't go into the characteristics because I just want to give you an overview. Then we have Mother Earth, and that circle with the cross in it is the symbol for Mother Earth. Now, it's really interesting because that symbol is used in all over the world. Indigenous cultures use it, medieval cultures use it. It's pretty stunning. And we'll talk about why that is. We'll explain it. Of course, we have the moon. The moon is our only natural satellite. Next planet next to Earth is Mars, and Mars has the symbol of a male with that little arrow. After Mars is the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt was said to have been a planet. Some of you, I think one of you is a hypnotherapist here, if I remember correctly, but under hypnosis and some ancient texts speak of the asteroid belt as being a planet that was destroyed in the Great War by a technically advanced culture. Asteroids are being used in astrology now. We won't be going there, but I just wanted you to know that they are used. All right, Jupiter. The Jupiter symbol sort of looks like a funny looking 4. Jupiter is our biggest planet in our solar system. And if it weren't for Jupiter, we probably wouldn't survive because Jupiter is so large that it pulls any Earth destroying asteroid into its atmosphere and gobbles it up. Saturn, which looks like a funny looking H, it's where we get this symbol RX for prescription. Saturn, and then next comes Uranus or Uranus, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It has a funny symbol, looks like an H. Neptune, it looks like a trident with a cross under it. Neptune, the god of the ocean, carrying the 3-pronged arrowed, we call it trident, 3 aspects. And Pluto has a couple different symbols. I use this symbol because it's the easiest to remember. Pluto's been demoted into a planetoid, but we astrologers pay no heed to its demotion and consider it a very valuable planet. There's astrophysicists tell us there's probably a couple more planets because of the perturbed some other planets are perturbed in a certain way, but we'll have to wait to see where those are. So Mother Earth. Now Mother Earth has a tilt to her. It's 23.5 degrees. Very important to remember that, 23.5 degrees. And the ancients knew it. I won't get into it on this session, but they knew it. So the wobble of the Earth causes the precession of the equinox, and I'm going to explain what that is. I know this is a lot to remember. Don't feel like you have to memorize this, but I would be remiss if I wasn't introducing these ideas. Now here we have the sun with the Earth. Of course, the Earth we know goes around the sun, but in astrology, astrology is Earth-centric. So we treat, from an astrological perspective, the Earth in the center, but of course we know that's not the case. The ecliptic, around the ecliptic are these star clusters, and we've assigned them names. The ancients actually assigned them names. It's very, very old. And they're mostly in the shape of animals, all except for Aquarius, or chimeras, which are combinations of different kinds of animals or human animals, like Sagittarius. And that's why it's called the zodiac, because it's based on the zoo zodiac. So yeah, it's the collection of animals. Oh, I guess Gemini is two people too, isn't it? So the wobble of the earth causes what's called the great year. Interestingly enough, the ancients had the identical year in two completely remote areas of the planet. The Greeks called it the Great Year, and the ancient Indians called it the Yuga cycle. You can see the cycle here, and actually the Mesoamericans had this cycle. Other ancient cultures had this cycle, but I don't want to get too complex because this isn't a literary discussion. But I want you, I think it's good to be educated about cycles. So you see at the bottom, there's two words called Kali Kali, and underneath it's called the Iron Age. These are the Dark Ages. Thank God we're coming out of these Dark Ages. An age lasts about 2,000 years. It's actually about 2,100 years, and the whole cycle lasts about 25,000 years. Half of the cycle, or 24,000, half of the cycle is 12,000, and half of that is 6,000. And we have great disruptions. We have polar shifts, pole shifts during these times. And we go round and round and round and round. We are moving up to we are now solidly in the Bronze Age. The good news is we're heading up to the Silver Age, and then the Golden Age. The bad news is it's going to be a couple thousand years till we get there, but we're heading in the right direction. All right. So here again, I just want to introduce the idea that, and I don't see a lot of astrologers talking about this, but remember that the not only does the ecliptic, where the constellations reside around the sun, where the Earth transits, we also have the seasons. And these seasons are created by the 23.5-degree tilt, as well as the year cycle. The Earth orbits the sun, creating the summer solstice, the longest day, the winter solstice, the shortest day, and both equinoxes are equal day and night. Okay, now when we talk about the ecliptic doesn't actually exist. It's a theoretical idea. It's a plane of where the Earth orbits around the sun. That's the same idea as this idea here. This is maybe looking a diagram from above, and this would give you an idea from the side what that circle is, so you can understand it. And that Earth there is right at the vernal equinox. That's a different, it's a funny way of saying the fall equinox. That's where spring equinox is tomorrow, I believe. So that just to give you an idea of where we are in space and time. The celestial equator will be, we will be referencing this, and we'll come back, so don't feel overwhelmed by the information. But the celestial equator is another, it's not real, it's just a plane of calculated plane that extends from the equator. So that's different because it's 23.5 degrees tilted. The Earth is on its axis. So we have the elliptic and the celestial equator. So this is what I wanted to also share with you. This is something I know you've seen before. We have, this is a lovely rendition, actually, if I do say so myself. So here we have at the top where it says Yule. That's an old-fashioned way, an ancient medieval name for winter solstice or Christmas. This is our Christmas holiday. We have a Yule log. I do a lovely presentation with New Renaissance on winter solstice. And then if we go all the way down to the bottom, you see summer solstice. Remember, we saw that on the elliptic. And then to the left, we have fall equinox. And then across to the right, we have Ostara or spring equinox. And that's what's happening tomorrow, just so you know where you are in time. And then you can see the different symbols of the astrology that corresponds with these holidays. All right. Here we have the astrological. Now this is where we're bringing it home. And this is where we have our astrological wheel. And if you remember before, we saw all those constellations that have names to them, and those names are around the outside. And remember how I said that the Earth revolves around the sun? Of course, you know that, but that we are Earth-centric in astrology because we are observing. This is an observational science. We are observing where the planets and the star, the sun, and the moon are from the vantage point of Earth. So it's called apparent, is when we see it from Earth. We see the apparent movement because it's different than the actual movement. In this wheel, if you you can see all the rainbow colors. The wheel is divided into 12 sections. You see the numbers in the very center. And those 12 sections are just like a clock. And the clock is tilted, it's turned 1/4 to the left. Otherwise it would be, and it's flipped backwards, but I know it's sort of funny, but it's like a clock. Think of it like a clock that's a little bit different, because that's basically how it works. We're in time, and the 12 sections go all the way back to ancient Babylon. So we are a product of something that our ancient ancestors have mastered for millennium. The signs of the symbols of the astrological signs are next inside. You'll see Leo that has a funny squiggle, but it sort of looks like a lion's head. Virgo is an M with a cross. Libra is 2 lines. One's a straight line on the bottom, and the top is a line that's broken with an arch. It symbolizes scales. So these symbols are important to start to learn. So no pressure though, but this is what we're going to start to learn. And then inside the next, between the symbols of the signs and the numbers, are, if you remember, those are the planet signs. You can see the sun right next to Leo because it's an old-fashioned way, but it's called rulerships. You can tell it's an ancient art because it talks about a mastery and rulerships and dignities and so forth, sort of antiquated language. So everything is a cycle. Well, the moon has a cycle, and here we have, of course, the moon revolving around the Earth. We know that. And it takes 28-ish days for this cycle. So we've gone from 24 or 25,000 year cycle to one year cycle. Now this is a 28-day cycle. and the moon has different phases. It's apparent it has phases because of the shadow that the earth casts, and it goes from a new moon, waxing, crescent, it's growing. Waxing means growing. The first quarter, which is a misnomer, by the way, because it looks like half a moon. Then a gibbous, which is a three-quarter moon, if you will, and a full moon, and then back down. We won't be talking about the cycles of the moon, but I wanted to put astrology into context, because what's important to me is that this is a usable tool for you in your life. This is a handout I'll send you guys if you don't already have it, that I created for a presentation I did, planting, gardening by the moon and the moon cycles. And it's a wonderful, now our ancient ancestors have been planting by the moon's cycles for millenniums, and signs, by the way. Excuse me. But it's a wonderful time to plant intention in your life. And we have a moon group, and there's several people from our moon group in this. So we're going to go back in history. This is one of the greatest temples I've ever been in. It's called Dendera, and it's in Egypt. And it's to the goddess. It's an Isis temple, but it's interesting. It's Hathor on the front of this. Hathor is a goddess of fertility, and so is Isis. In the ceiling here, in this beautiful temple, is this panel. It's a very famous ceiling, which Napoleon, in his humility, had it hacked out of the ceiling and taken off to, it's now in the Louvre, the original, which doesn't look like this because it doesn't have any color, but this is thought to be, from the remnants of the paint that's left, what it actually looked like. And in the center, you can see there's a scorpion at about the sort of the lower left side, a lion, you can see the scales. So we've got Leo, we've got Libra, we've got a cow up in the upper right, so we've got Taurus. These, and two fish, Pisces, these are symbols that are way ancient. You're learning something that is an ancient living language. Superimposed over this is are the astrological signs. The Egyptians used more signs than we have, but this gives you an idea. It is also telling us, it's also telling us about the Great Age, which is the yugas that we learned about before, but I don't want to get too deep in the weeds. I just wanted to introduce you to the idea of where we are in time. But the earliest remnants of any astrological knowledge come from Babylon. This is way ancient. And the one on the right is the first astrological chart that we have on record. And it's in the ancient language of the Babylonians was called cuneiform, and it's those funny marks right there. Now, I can tell you from my own personal conviction, because I can remember being a child and knowing that Atlantis existed. I just absolutely knew it, and I felt sorry for the learned grown-ups, because I came from a very academic family who thought it was a myth. So it's my premise, and some of the thoughts that I'm sharing with you in this presentation are original. Most of them aren't. But that's a thought that has come to me. It's an original thought, that I believe that these ancient cultures actually are bringing knowledge from a prior civilization, this star knowledge, and that it wasn't discovered by the Babylonians, but they're remembering it from a prior catastrophe. Now, I wanted to also show you that some of these great ancient cultures not only aligned with the stars, but with the sun. This is one of the greatest temples on the planet. It's in Egypt, where most of the greatest temples, I think, are. That's my prejudice. Sorry about that. Um, this is at Karnak, or Thebes, was called to the Greeks. And oh, sorry, why is this important? Forgive me. The right is an illustration of what it probably looked like, and the left is I can see not a very good DPI picture, and then the inset is a detailed picture of the sun rising on winter solstice. The entire temple aligns with this solar moment in time, winter solstice. That's a lot. That's a great, amazing engineering feat. In front of the Sphinx and the pyramid on the right. I'm sorry, that's a little hard to see that picture, but the red marker there, it says the Great Sphinx of Giza, is pointing exactly due east at the sunrise on the equinox. So that would be spring and fall equinox. Where it's like a hand on a clock, the Sphinx that's aiming there, because whatever constellation rises spring equinox exactly due east is where we are in time, and I'll explain that later. We've got Stonehenge. Probably some of you have been to Stonehenge. It's a dream. I would like to go there myself. I've never been. Ancient alignments. I believe Stonehenge is much older than they tell us. But it shows that our ancient ancestors went to a lot of trouble to pay attention to when there was solar and lunar alignments. And this must have been for a good reason, because it's a lot of trouble to build something like this if you're a Neolithic culture. Newgrange, I haven't been here either, but I really want to go. On winter solstice, the rising sun, there you can see the ray penetrates the earth. Also, you can see it's like a womb of Mother Earth, and the sun is like the seed of the Father. And these huge monolithic blocks of multi-ton are arranged to allow the light to go all the way down through the chamber to the very back on this one particular day. Why did they do this? Well, we'll talk about that later. And these symbols with the triple spiral are also important. If I can do anything in this presentation, it's to bring your awareness to the language of symbols. Symbols, in my opinion, are the way that the universe communicates with us. Sometimes in English, okay, in French perhaps, but mostly in symbols. Birds, trees, and then these different types of symbols. Another amazing structure, Angkor Wat in Cambodia, aligns perfectly with this winter solstice sun. It hits the very tip top of the central pyre and then enters as it descends. It goes right through the portal of the door. So we're talking about these giant planets and the star that's a sun. Well, how does it affect you? Well, these planets are not only outside of us, but they reside within us, and they harmonize with different chakras and organs and parts of our body. Of course, the sun rules the heart, and the heart is the central mechanism that's the center of our electromagnetic field. It creates the torus field that goes out about to our fingertips when our fingers are outstretched. It is our spiritual center, and that's exactly in the ancient world what the sun symbolized was the Atma Karaka. It is the indicator of the soul. So the ancients believed that the astrological natal chart, or the birth chart, which is a picture of the heavens the moment you were born, is an indication of your destiny, and that hints